What is the meaning of life? A philosophical question, to say the least. But to answer it in the most intellectually honest way, there is no purpose. There is no meaning of life. You give your life meaning. You know, in a cosmological sense, in the grand scheme of the universe, none of this matters. Because if you understand the cosmology or the philosophy of the origin of the universe and the scientific fact, right? And you put those two things together, right? You realize that the cause of all of these things is, in layman's terms, nothing but chance, basically random, no specific conscious purpose. It's just fundamental forces acting, fundamental building blocks of matter going through chemical processes dictated by fundamental forces of the universe, the Big Bang. Even though the Big Bang is not really, it's kind of like a misnomer almost, because it wasn't a Big Bang, it was more of a big expansion, but that's for another discussion. But yeah, what is the meaning of life? What is the purpose of life? What is your purpose in life? Okay, I can answer that first from an evolutionary standpoint, right? What is the purpose of life? Well, from an evolutionary standpoint, the purpose of life is to survive and procreate, to continue your species, right? And that's true for every other animal on this planet except humans. Think about that for a second. Every other animal, their sole purpose, their sole goal in this life is to survive and procreate. But humans are that only exception. You want to know why? Because humans are the only species that have mastered and basically exploited, the typical survival of the fittest method. Humans are the only species that can control the population of their prey indefinitely. Like, for instance, when's the last time that you went hunt a chicken or hunt a cow or hunt a pig or a deer or anything? When's the last time you grew grains or grew vegetables or beans or lentils, anything? Most likely, chances are you didn't. You went to a grocery store. But you know how the grocery store got that food? They hold these farmers and such. They raise these animals in captivities, right? So where the next offspring, the next generation of the animal is already raised in a controlled environment to where they're raised to be slaughtered. They're literally living meat bags. They're literally bred and born for our sole nourishment, our sole pleasure. What other animal has the technology or the intelligence to create technology that can do that? Humans, we don't have to worry about a shortage of humans. We have over 7 billion human beings on this planet. If anything, we're going to be in an abundance of humans. But, so we got the survival That's down. Um, and the procreation, that's down, right? Because that's another reason why, we can afford to be fat. What other animal in the wild that you see is fat? Not many, because they have to move around and actually hunt and be active on their feet for pretty much their entire lives, or they're gonna die. Not humans. We don't have to worry about dying. We got industrial technology that we can mass produce food at an extreme rate. Every starvation in the world that you see now is completely artificial. But that's for another time. But we'll see. Like I said, we got the survival down pat and we got the procreation. That's out of the way. So the point of life is to survive and procreate, and humans got that just locked down. Now what? Because if the sole purpose is to survive and reproduce, then if we achieve that, now what do? We just sit around just eating food and having sex, having babies, which is nothing's wrong with that, because that's literally our evolutionary goal. Like, that's predisposed, that's predetermined, that's wired in our brains to do those things, right? So there's nothing wrong with it. But from a societal standpoint, humans, I don't know, humans are a peculiar species. So instead of just sitting around, we've told ourselves we need this purpose, which is completely artificial. Since we already got the basics down pat, now we just got to add something to keep ourselves occupied. It's just keeping ourselves occupied. That's why they create these jobs. Over 95% of these jobs aren't necessary. They're just there to keep people occupied. They don't really provide good for society, a lot of them. And they may tell you that, but they really don't. We created machines to do most of those things. They do these things to keep us occupied. So a purpose, there is no objective purpose in life. There is no objective meaning of life. You give your life meaning. It's completely arbitrary. If you want to dedicate your life to doing, playing basketball, go right ahead. There's nothing wrong with that. If you want to dedicate your life to being an artist, like, drawing, I like to draw, there's nothing wrong with that either. It's whatever you want to do, because at the end of the day, it's your life. At the end of the day, it's not about the opinion of someone else, because at the end of the day, they don't go home, they don't look in the mirror and sit in the bed with your thoughts. You do. You have to contemplate. You have to be satisfied with your actions based on your personal standard of morality, your personal standards, your personal preferences. It's not about someone else's arbitrary opinion. It's about your opinion on your life. Don't let fear dictate your choices. Let your ambitions and your goals and your dreams dictate your choices. Because at the end of the day, you are all you got. It's about you. Your life is about you. Everyone else, their life is about them. So don't let their opinion dictate